Hello there, grandest of evenings, my lovely royal family. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 5 of Discussion Time Podcast Season 2. Happy Friday to you. I'm about to get started. I feel like this was going to be a good one. I don't really know where it's going to go, and if you hear me repeat that, I'm just kind of pre-talking. Thank you first and foremost for being here. I appreciate you for showing up. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this page and channel. Share the video, turn on your post notification, support DTP. Any and everything goes, from social issues to culture to whatever. And we're just gonna kind of wing. I mean, we wing every episode, really. So let's keep up with that format. But how are you liking the season so far? What's your favorite episode? And there's dialogue. I would love to know. Oh, wow. We got 5 plays on last night's episode with Goddess Katie. So that is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, people are listening. All right. Hello there, royal family. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast episode 5 of Season 2. Thank you for joining Discussion Time Podcast. It is your host, Malaysia, aka Lasia Princess. And today's segment is called F It Fridays. So, initially there was a guest, but time and schedule kind of didn't go so well. So hopefully we can have them in a future episode. So that kind of led me on a series of thoughts, right? And so I'm just going to say F it. And just kind of speak from, I guess, the heart. But there truly are 2 things that, there's one main thing I guess I would like to talk about. And 2 things kind of brought me to this point and to this topic. For one, 2 weeks ago on Instagram, if you follow the personal page, Lasia Princess, I asked a question one morning or one rising. And, I pretty much said, like, hey, I'd be down to answer any questions you guys may have, like, about me or just questions, like, ask a pimp some questions. And literally, only one person asked, and it borderline wasn't even a question. But over 300 people saw the post, so that's fascinating. I don't want to say y'all are fake, but, I mean, come on. But, or, he just probably didn't care enough to ask anything. I don't know, but that's not why we're here. But the numbers don't lie. I'm going to say that. So that was just fascinating. So yeah, one person did but didn't ask a question. And then ironically, someone did ask me a question on Facebook. I think, I can't remember which video I posted to my YouTube channel, but following that video, I think it was the Little Lasia unveiling video. I'm not too sure. But someone I went to high school with, one of my high schools, asked me a question, and it was really interesting. And I was going to make a video, but since there weren't enough questions to make a video, I'm going to say F it and do it in a podcast. I was going to ask myself some questions. Like, I had this idea to do it as a comedy skit, and then I was like, so I scratched that idea, and then I was going to do like a mildly serious question and answer of self, and then I didn't like that idea either. So I'm just going to answer this question on the podcast, and then kind of like go from there, if you will. But so yes, that question kind of sparked what I would like to talk about tonight, as well as our beloved goddess Katie. She said something in last night's podcast that just really kind of stuck out, if you will. I wouldn't say it made me feel away, but I think younger me or more emotional me would have kind of like been up in arms about it. But the fact that she stated, I always seem so happy, that was just like, I always seem so happy. Now, I take that as a compliment. I truly, truly do. But I just have to, and this falls in line with the question that I received. You honestly never really know people's story, right? And what they go through to get to where they are today, and not even where they fully are, where you see them at, because as we all know on social media, You only see what people allow you to see. So I'm not coming on here to give my whole life story because you gotta remain mysterious, yes. But no, in all truth, I did want to share just some, I don't know. I'm at a place where I don't care about being misunderstood, not liked, seen as weird, or I genuinely don't know what people's opinions of me are. I just know that I can feel certain energies regarding certain people, and the feeling that I get is along the lines of, who does she think she is? She thinks she's all that. I don't know. I feel a mix of, I feel like people are just kind of like, I'm a question mark, right? And that means I'm doing something right. That's a pretty good thing. Because you should never be able to be figured out. I don't believe in that at all. If you can be read like a textbook, then you're kind of boring. So, and if you know me, and if you've even been listening to this podcast, I don't think I'm boring. But it takes a lot for people to become and evolve better than who they used to be. And at the end of the day, that is I can't speak for anyone else, and I can only speak from experience and from my truth and from my perspective. Because my path has been a crazy, windy one. And just like most people, I would assume, but again, I'm only speaking from my point of view, my perspective, my experience, my history. Like, this is all me. And at the end of the day, I'm only here to be the best me that I can be. Better than I was yesterday, better than I was last week, better than I was last year, better than I was 5-10 years ago. And I mean, even if you think you know me, you will never actually know me. I do not allow people to have that privilege because I'm always learning more. I'm always implementing and removing, and like I'm evolving by the second. So it's literally impossible for me to keep up with me sometimes, but to then be like, oh, hey, PSA update, Leisha now likes, Leisha doesn't, like, I don't have time for that. And quite frankly, it's none of anyone's business. And it's only for me to give out if I feel that it'll be of help or of assistance to someone else. Because again, it's no one's business or privilege to know my entire life story, but I do feel that there are parts of the story that can be shared because it will resonate with others, and it can give them the confidence and that energy boost that they need to get out of whatever they feel like they're in, because at the end of the day, everything is temporary. This whole experience is temporary, and everything happens in seasons. So whatever it is that you may be feeling like you're going through or feel like you're stuck in, like, it can be changed and it can be fixed. Like, I don't care what your situation is. You can come up out of that. You can rise above it. It starts with a shift in mentality. So whatever it is that is not serving you, mentally speaking, of your own doing and of other people's so-called projections, it has to, like, something has to give. So I just kind of wanted to just say that, and also say that my journey has not been one of a typical princess / goddess. I mean, I have never had a fairy tale life. That just has not happened. I've had fairy tale moments, which I'm very highly grateful for, but I'm even grateful for all of the BS moments and the hard times and the trials and the tribulations. And you just kind of grow to a point, and I would hope that one can achieve this and even higher. You grow to learn yourself through everything that you've been through, right? As I like to say, you're an accumulation of. So you can't, I mean, at least for me, I'm not mad at the fact that I was almost raped at 7 years old, 2 houses down from my house, 1 door down from my grandma's house, because I used to live, one of my younger houses, the houses that I grew up in, it was next to my paternal grandmother. So it was our house, grandma's house and then one of the neighbors. So, you know, the way that went down was one day my little brother went to our neighbor's house to go play video games. My grandmother told me to go with him. And the setup over there was like an older sister. But I guess I was too young for her to like care about me, so to say. And then she had a little brother, and for confidentiality reasons, like, and I'm not trying to like save nobody, but at the end of the day, like, this wouldn't be like, first, the very few people who may know me from those times, like, I don't want you to put two and two together. But because that would be just way too easy. But yeah, little brother wanted to go play with homeboy. And you know, things happen in blur, or things become blurry, you know, over the years. So perhaps I need to do more work in this area, but I've emotionally let it go. But long story short, little brother went to go play video games. I don't know where the sister went, but I guess that gave the cue for the brother to invite his homeboy who lived around the corner from us. And homeboy was like a very stocky dude, and I think they were both older than my brother and I for sure. I think they were maybe like 10, 11, and we're like 7, 8, 9. I was definitely under 10. And I didn't turn 10 until I moved to the South Bay. But long story short, I can't recall exactly how it all happened, but I don't know where my little brother went. I think he went to the back room to go, child, I don't know. But what ended up happening was I was sitting on the couch. The neighbor brother kept trying to like scoot over onto the couch with me, like just kept scooting down and like trying to like, you know, do the little suave thing. I kept turning him down, and literally he pushed me on the ground, like, and I'm like facing up on my back. He says, get her. So big dude grabs my arms, like pins me down on the ground, and neighbor brother mounts me, and he's like, I know you want this. And I fought, and luckily, like, because there's a whole different side that comes out of me when you're in fight or flight, and I was able to fight them both off. I like bit, scratched, kicked, you name it, I did it. And then I ran out of the house, ran to my grandmother's house. I guess my brother was already there, so I have no idea how this really went down. I just know that was monumental. That's the story here. So that almost took place, and I was just so terrified. Like, I had never been in that situation before. So I ran back next door, like 3 less than a yard away, went to my grandmother, and I told her what happened. And the only thing that she told me was, well, don't tell your dad. Isn't that fucked up? Isn't that fucked up? And to this day, I would like to think that, because, you know, and I never speak on like my father in a personal way, like his affiliations and whatnot, but he's an OG. We're just going to put it like that. So I would like to think that my grandmother said that because she knew he was going to catch a case, like just straight up. My father has never done things in front of us. So I don't know what all he did or does, but at the end of the day, I would like to think that she was protecting him from himself, because he was a very alpha, and he's an OG. He does, you know, gangsters do gangster shit. So, but that was, and when you run to an authority figure at that age, like they tell you to do, but then you kind of feel like nothing gets done or happens, it's just like, damn, well, what the fuck? Like, you know, it's like, whoa, that's wild. Like, I felt like I couldn't say anything, or it just felt like it didn't matter, or that it wasn't that serious. And I'm the oldest of technically 5. So, but at that time it was just 2 of us. So I had no one to turn to. Like, if grandma couldn't do anything, like, it felt like nobody was going to be able to do anything. So there was that. Fast forward to, I guess, well, before we go there, I've always taken care of the elderly, especially elderly who have not been my direct bloodline. I've been in multiple blended families at different points in my life, and there was a point where one of the two had passed, and so the grandfather, Papa, ended up slipping into dementia after losing his wife. And I mean, like, actually watching someone like urinate on the floor and you're like a teenager, it just does something different. Like, having to change sheets and change diapers and clean up, like, you can only imagine what taking care of someone like that would be. It's not the prettiest thing. Then fast forward to another point in my life when I had to do it all over again, I called him Uncle L to protect his identity. He was blind, and changing bedpans, and it's just like, I mean, I've never been handed a silver spoon. Like, I work for every single thing that I have, and I have the integrity and the humbleness and the wisdom that I have as a result of, is what I'm trying to get at. And so, like, thankfully no one comes at me sideways or crazy, because I think I give off that vibe like, please don't try me. And I mean this in the most bestest of ways, because old lay can come out in 2.5, but we reserve her for only like an as-need basis, you know what I'm saying? We let the pit bull come out only when she needs to, but which is very rare. Like, thankfully no one puts me in that situation, but it's never been a pretty ride. There have been pretty moments and beautiful moments, but overall, like, these things are very monumental. Again, like yesterday I said in the podcast, having to go through therapy, getting comfortable with my therapist for 6 months, and then she gets pregnant, and then wanting to pan me off to someone else. Like, fam, like, it just felt like every time I would open up to someone, it would get taken away. So what does that lead one to do? Oh, I had to get literally creative. I had to turn to something, and I turned to pen and paper. Pen and paper is my first love. It's really my second love. I've always been a singer. I've been singing since I was 2. I used to go to Catholic school. I was the lead singer of a gospel band. Performed at BB King's about 3 times. I call myself like a child performer, yeah. So that was my out, but I wasn't writing my songs at that time. Like, I was just kind of on the, I can't even say gospel. I was into the Catholic and Christian songs. So I still wasn't really being able to be me. And it just, like, after one thing happened after the next, I was just like, fam, like, something's got to give. And so I found poetry in 5th grade. I can't really remember how, but I was just like, oh, this is a thing. And I ran with it. So we started writing poetry. Fast forward to 2006, meeting someone whom I thought I was going to get married to. But meeting this person in 2006, I was 12 and they were 15. And you know how when you're young, you don't really see age. You just, like, they're either older or younger. Like, the numbers you don't really put 2 and 2 together with numbers. Like, you might at first, but then, like, it just over time and over the course of the bond, it just, like, completely escapes you. So I had met this person at 12, they were 15, and they became, like, my confidant. Like, I found at the time what I thought to be, like, a big brother, or like a really dope, like a big homie, so to say. And over time, my feelings developed more and more for this person, and I allowed them to take my virginity at 16, not knowing the age difference. And it literally wasn't until last year, while I was watching the show Fosters on Netflix, that, because I registered with Callie so much. If you've watched that show, it's amazing. If you haven't watched it, it is amazing. I highly recommend it. I don't recommend many shows because y'all, me and TV, we don't like each other. I couldn't care any less. But I just really resonated with Callie so much, and her story was so similar to mine. And it literally took me, how old am I? I'll be 26 in less than 3 months. At 25, I just discovered that I was technically raped. I had not a single clue. Not one clue. Because this person, aka a narcissist, groomed me since I was 12. They made me, and of course I had a part to play in this. Like, no one can really force you to do things. But when you're so young, you're more impressionable and you're more gullible. So, although I thought that because at the end of the day, like, I don't regret my first time. Like, thinking about it now, I see that whole so-called, because we never claimed each other, and I for damn sure know that was intentional on his part now, to protect his image and himself, because to everyone else, I was his little sister and he was my big brother. But, of course, like, that was honestly the person that I wanted it to be with. So I don't regret it in that aspect, but I regret and did forgive myself for being so naive, you know? And especially when you come from a 2-parent household, turn 1, and you're bouncing around through so many schools and just so much is happening in your life. And there's just a lot that one can go through, to where, like, if you can just find one person to listen, like, you just feel like your life is a little less hectic, right? It's just a little less, like, it's just less BS. You know, you can escape as need be. So this person, although they did provide for me to vent to them and all this stuff, at the end of the day, they weren't doing anything but using all of that shit against me as ammo. And this went on until 2015. So from 06 to 15, I was literally stuck on stupid for this person. So that in itself is a whole, is a whole thing. It's a whole shebang in that in itself. Like, it's just wild. I may or may not do a whole different segment on that, but that was something to really heal from. And, yeah. But, you know, and then pretty much I modeled every man after him. I was just like, well, this is like, because for me, that had been the best of the best. Like, this was a person of status and stature and such a man's man, and the suits and the this and the that. Like, since we never were technically together, that it was like free reign to, like, you know, still maybe date. And even though I've never really been a dater, like, because my mom has, you know, not to throw shade on her, but, you know, I learned a lot of what not to do because of her. You know, she did have me at 18, and the entire family thought that I would be pregnant at 18 like her. So that was a whole stigma in itself that was on me, you know, from the way that I dressed, from the way that I walked. Like, they would just all think that I was fast and I was trying to get, like, men's attention, and it just totally wasn't like that. Like, I've always had a shapely body. I've always been naturally nice. Like, that's just who I am. But when people can see things within you, they'll manipulate you into thinking that it's wrong or it's bad. Like, they will literally try to dim your light. And that's what happened for so long. I've lived in the darkness for a very long time. Me finding light and spreading stay magical always and love, light, and peace. This hasn't even been 5 years of doing this. This is still, like, we're maybe turning on year 3. Because when I say I've dwelled in the darkness, oh baby boo, that shit is real. And I love this month and this season because I literally love to wear all black. All black is my shit. Like, I used to wear all black because I felt like it made me invisible. Like, I was less noticeable. People wouldn't like bother me as much, and I wouldn't feel like a bother. Like, I was afraid of shining and standing out. Like, it literally took for someone in college to be like, girl, all you wear is all black. When are you gonna get some color? And I honestly think it was my high school, my second high school. I think it was my second high school's boyfriend's cousin who really kind of drove that home. She was like, Lay, you gotta wear color. I was like, color. But now I understand that what I did or didn't want to wear was a reflection and an outward projection of what I was feeling internally. Like, I was feeling dark and gloomy and in woe is me, and like I was just in a rut, y'all, like ruts on top of ruts on top of ruts. And so, I started incorporating. I remember one summer, just, you get financial aid and you just wild out. So I got financial aid, and some girls and we took the bus to the mall, and I went to the Forever 21 clearance rack. I love the clearance racks. And I was just like, let's just buy as much color as we can. Like, let's just try this thing. So I wore color for a summer, and I kind of dug it. I was like, oh snap. Like, people actually started noticing me more. And they, like, the exact thing I didn't want to happen totally freaking happened. But since I was in a different place then, I was able to kind of accept it. And I was like, oh shit, this isn't half bad. So that's why, like, if you have seen like previous pictures or videos, I gotta stop saying like, I heard it for the umpteenth time, but I'm just speaking and this is just what it is. But yeah, previous videos and pictures, you always see me in like a white cami or camisole. I mean, a black camisole. Like, that's my uniform. Like, I love all black. That's just what it is. But these days, well, not this season, but after spooky season, we'll go back to like, some fall colors or whatever. But what I'm getting at is, it's unfair, and I don't care about the opinions of others, but it's unfair to think that someone got from A to B on a flying carpet. It dismisses the work and the shit that they've been through to get to where they're at. And that's not even the half of it. But again, I'm not here to, this is no pity party. This is none of that. This is just me, just being open enough because I'm actually comfortable and in a place where I can voice these things. So a lot of this only certain people used to know, but I'm at a place now because I know that I'm a healer, and I know that what I have to say is profound and, again, can and will resonate with someone else. You just gotta share these things because it's important. It's necessary. It allows me to continue to heal. Like, the more I express it, and it's a way to release. It's a way of shedding. And so, not that I was feeling weighed down, but it might be doing something subconscious that I totally don't even know. And I'm open to that. I'm open to my own healing. And that's something else that I kind of feel people have a question mark on me about too. It's like, oh, I don't really know. I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. I don't, because I'm being myself. I'm being authentic. I'm being true to myself, and I'm able to show a bone or two in my closets. Like, at the end of the day, I'm in control of my own narrative, and that's all I've ever wanted, and that's all I plan to continue to do, because no one's gonna sit here and paint me to be anything that I'm not, because I'm gonna beat you to the punch. Like, even if you said, oh, we had sex, yeah, and it was whack. Like, sorry. we gonna keep it a thou wow. Like, we done been through some things, and at the end of the day, now I'm not saying that everyone needs to voice their thing, but truthfully, you got to get it out somehow. So me doing podcasts, me making YouTube videos, me doing poetry and these art shows, and everything that I do is for my own personal healing and benefit. I just happen to be sharing it with y'all, but I couldn't give a rat's ass about social media. I could deactivate it all over again, and would still be living my best life, because I'm not here for accolades. I'm not here for numbers or followers. I'm here to be the light that I am. And I understand that even moths are attracted to light. So everybody who's gravitated towards this goodness is not for the good of me and my mission and my benefit. That's where discernment comes in, you know? So I'm now able to use what has happened to me, and I'm able to transmute these things into positivity. Like, I can turn any negative these days into a positive. Why? Because I'm powerful like that. I am a magician. Like, I'm not going to sit here and dim myself anymore, but I'm not going to say I'm the best. That's false. I am my best. That's why on my Facebook it says my favorite artist. I don't care about being your favorite artist or your favorite anything. I'm this way for me, and that's all that matters. And so I really want to drive the point home of being your best for you, not for your parents, not for your grandparents, not for your auntie, cousin, sister, brother, neighbor. None of them niggas matter. You matter. I love those You Matter hoodies. I think, who is it? Demetrius Harmon. Shout out to you. I just love your movement. But what I'm getting at, I think I said that. I got to my point. But don't assume, and I'm not also knocking the statement that was said yesterday. I'm just wanted to kind of touch on it and say that I'm able to be this way because of what I've been through. When you've dwelled in the darkness and you've lived and had a rough upbringing and just a rough life period, all you want is love and happiness and just to be pure and to be yourself. Because truthfully, like, my innocence was taken from me. So I'm now living as the child I should have been living as. I'm living as my happiest self. I love to play dress up. I love to put on makeup. I like to wear wigs. I like to, whatever I like is what I like for me. And I'll be damned if a motherfucker try to make me feel bad for it, because you can't. No one can control these emotions but myself. I have put in a lot of work to get to where I am, and I continue to do the work. And I might not be where I want to be, but hot damn it, I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm grateful for where I'm at, and I wouldn't be here had it not been for all of that. Like, I'm hella grateful. Like, beyond grateful. Because there are people who have it worse, and there's people who have it better. But I'm my better as of today. I am the happiest I've ever been. I have reached a month and a half of sobriety. Yeah, your girl was drinking. I had been drinking I went from not drinking to drinking socially and occasionally and on certain occasions to heavily for the past 2 years. Like, that shit was wild. And then some of you know me as a stoner. Used to be, yeah, you know. And so, anyway, you know. So I've had my fair share of all kind of struggles. But at the end of the day, I can own up to my shit, and I'm proud of it. Not like proud of it, but I'm proud of overcoming it and being able to turn lemons to lemonade, water into wine. We on our Jesus status, okay? But you know, I gotta throw a little humor in there. But I don't know. I just really wanted to kind of I don't even want to say clear the air, because I ain't, you know, no one comes at me sideways. But you know, for the fact that I know that I have reach and pull, like, there's posts that reach the thousands, there's posts that reach 500 to 800. Like, I see the numbers, I can see the insights. Literally, that's what it's called when you have like a business page or what have you. You can see the insights. I see the numbers. I see y'all looking. I see you looking. So, you know, just because what I put out there is what I want doesn't mean that you know who I am, nor does that give you the right or the justification or the green light to need to know me. Because you don't need to know me, but you're gonna get this work, you're gonna get this light. Like, that's just how I operate. But so that's that. And I wanted to answer this question that I received on Facebook, and we'll wrap it up with this. So someone asked me, They said senior YouTube channel and had a few questions as how you got started with your company, what made you feel like your voice matters, most of all, how do I start my journey teaching mental health, physical health, and awareness in my community, because that's where I would like to start. So I'm going to break this down, or answer it like question for question, because I think there's like multiple questions in here. But how you got started with your company? I think, first of all, I've always been an entrepreneur. Before these titles and these words came out, my parents were both hustlers. Like, they used to sell CDs, they burned CDs, they used to make bandanas with rhinestones. We done sold betta fish and vases. I used to be working at the at-home sweatshop, y'all. Like, my mom had her first company called Filuri Designs. I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure it's inactive, like website wise and all that stuff. But she would, glue flowers on sandals and purses and this and that. So, I mean, I've always gone to work with my grandma since I was 8. Every summer I would go to work with her up until I started college. So I come from a very ambitious family. A and B, my lineage, the Garifuna people of Belize, we know how to work. Like, we know how to get what we need to get, because our people weren't enslaved. And that's a whole different topic for a whole different day, because that's a whole different topic for a whole different day. But I come from hustlers and go-getters, and I come from an ambitious people. So it's literally always been in me to go get whatever I need to get, however I need to get it. I done sold everything. Candy, lanyards, if you knew me back in the day, chips. I used to collect people's unwanted items and sell them after school. And it was like an after school, like, yard sale. Like, I've always been this way. So I just carry it over now smartly and strategically, and turned all of my passions into businesses. Because again, when you're so passionate about so many things, it's kind of really hard to pick one. So I've just kind of felt like, well, why should I have to pick? Why can't I do them all? So to answer that question, how I got started with my company is a reflection of me. What does Jay-Z say? I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. The empire is literally different extensions of me, but it's not for me. And what I mean by that is, I know that at the end of the day, this enterprise, it's something for people to see that can exist. And it's for me, it's a way for me to hire my own and to teach my own and to build with my own, because I just never seen that. I think the only person, and I compare myself sometimes to Diddy. Like, Diddy has, I mean, that man is a mogul. He knows this game. So I'm just trying to be, not a woman Diddy, but at the end of the day, I admired his hustle and the way that he has built what he has built for himself. And so I think in the back of my head, I've always just aspired to work for myself. I've never wanted to work for nobody. So it has never been in me to be like, oh, I'm going to be the best intaker of this information to go work for somebody else and give my hard earned knowledge to another. Like, I just never really thought that way. And in seeing the way that companies treat their employees, like, I never understood why people be like, oh, I hate my boss, I this, I that. I'm just like, damn, is that the work community? Like, why does work seem like that? It just, that shit was crazy to me. I never understood that. And thankfully, I haven't worked too many jobs to where, like, I loved all my only 2 bosses, or, so, I mean, I can't fathom that. I can only fathom being burnt out and bored with repetition, because that's the only thing that kind of annoyed me. But I mean, damn, like, so I just want to prove that things can be done differently. That's why I say I'm an alternative art therapist and artivist and all this stuff. Like, everything I do is art related, and art is pretty much any medium. It's anything. So everything I do is an extension of me. And I got started by being a natural born hustler and wanting to turn a hustle into business and make it something legit. Like, I've always wanted to own my own stuff. So, that kind of passion and that kind of nature can't really be taught. And I hope I answered that question. But I think what really drove me to, like, go hard or go home and go all in was my senior year of college. I did college for 5 years. Shout out to us 5-yearers, because they always say, oh, do it in 4. But at the end of the day, like, 5 is a new 4. A, B, you don't really need college if you know what you want to do. C, I always say go at your own pace. But my senior year, I was just super burnt out with where I was working at. I worked on campus at our nonprofit, and my boss knew. She knew I was tired. She saw my face. Mama knew. She really knew. And but she really saw something within me. She was just like, yo, like, you're so much better than this. Like, you have something. Like, you have this it factor, and whatever it is, however you figure it out, you just need to do that shit, because you can't keep coming here. You can't keep coming up in here, hooping and hollering and fussing and fighting. So, my hours got cut, and she was doing the best for me, and she literally, I don't think she might have, but she literally was like, I will fire you if you don't get the getting, like, figure it the fuck out, pretty much, not in those terms, but just that energy. Like, she just really wanted me to pursue what I loved, because she saw how unhappy I was. Like, I get bored so easily, so doing the same thing for 5 years is just like I couldn't progress any higher. There was nowhere else to go. Like, I had reached every rank within that company, so it was just like, what's next? And what's next is outside of these walls, baby girl. So that's what I had to do. I had to, I guess, be forced out. And for graphic design, you have to do a senior project, and part of the senior project is doing your resume. I didn't even finish my resume for that. I had this bullshit. I had did some kind of some nonsense. Like, I put enough on there to make it. No, that's a lie, because I didn't touch that resume until after college. I literally turned in like a blank page with some icons on it. Like, I had started it, so it looked like I was attempting to, but I didn't want to. Everything within me didn't want to fill out my resume. And the deal that I made with myself was, if you fill out this resume, that means you're going to turn it into somebody, and you're going to be looking for employment. If you don't fill in this resume, that means you got to go all in with yourself. And I had to ask myself, which did I want? That was a no-brainer. We didn't deliberate for very long. I was like, I choose me. And that's all it's been ever since. And a lot of people don't understand that. But when you work from your heart, and when you go with what your spirit says, like, that's all that matters. And all I operate on is my spirit. Like, I literally can't do what I don't want to do. I can't be forced to do anything. And even in entrepreneurship, as I call it, that's been a journey in itself. Because again, it's hard to explain, like, yeah, spirit told me to do this, spirit told me not to do this. People are just like, WTF, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's all it is. Like, I can't move outside of myself. And, I did chase the money for a point in time, and that's why I actually don't have a laptop now. Like, after working with a client for 6 months straight after college, she decided to drop me, and literally right after dropping me, my laptop stopped working. It stopped charging. I didn't replace the battery about 2-3 times. The shit won't work. So I luckily have a friend's laptop that I'm like borrowing, but I even need to give this back. But needless to say, like, things happen in your in your life for a reason. And all it did was propel me further into my spirituality. So in that busting down, something else grew from it. And I can't be more grateful and thankful. So I hope that answered your question, or that part of the question. The next part says, what made you feel like your voice matters? I like to talk a fucking lot. So I felt like, since I like to talk a lot, maybe I say profound things. No, but truthfully, I feel like I've always known my voice matters. It just kind of depended on the setting that I was in, because I used to want to be a counseling psychologist. I think back in middle school, I determined that I wanted to be a counselor. Well, first I used to want to be a counselor, and then once I got to high school, I wanted to be a counseling psychologist. But I will never forget sitting outside one day after school. Shout out to Stephen White Middle School. I was sitting outside one day after school, and my homegirl Moya, she came up to me, and I think she was just like, venting or talking or what have you. And I think I gave her some advice, and she was just like, wow, like, you made that seem so less complicated, and you gave me a solution. And like, she was she was pretty much the first person who was like, you should be a counselor. And I was like, huh, never thought about that. So it was from that point on to when I was like, okay, like, you do have some wisdom here. Like, because I think a lot of people confuse age with knowledge, and then like the two don't equate, because somebody who's 40 could totally be 12 mentally. Let's just start there, okay? So I feel like I've always been like an old person in a young person's body. Like, I've lived 1,001 lives. Every mother within me is fucking tired, but we got to keep going, you know? But I think luckily I've always known, and depending on the settings, like, I would see more of that come out. So I just decided to challenge myself by doing this podcast, by making YouTube videos, to just put myself out there more, because a lot of the times you're not going to resonate with the people that you live with or who live in your immediate vicinity. Like, that's why a lot of people connect via the internet, and I used to actually be called a weirdo for loving the internet, because people on Tumblr and these forums and chat sites, like, they get you, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying to put yourself out there like that, pero, you know, discernment here, like, don't give your government and your address to people. But, you know, like, people, it's more common now, and it's less creepy and weird now. But when you grow up kind of with the internet and the start of these things like blogs and forums and this and chats and that, people like kind of, you know, knock you for that. But I've always felt like, depending on the setting, you know, what I had to say did matter. And luckily I just kind of challenged myself and took it upon myself to just expand on it further and just see where it can go. And it's been proving to be really, really awesome. So I love it. I love connecting with new people. I love meeting new people who rock with me on my same frequency. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like to meet everybody, because everybody ain't for you, and everybody does not have your best interests at heart. That's just facts, and that's straight up. So yeah, I kind of feel like I'm like not answering these questions, but you just have to know, like, you got to know what's true for you and what you feel. Like, this isn't about some business model or, okay, she did this, and this, I'm going to do this, and this, and it's going to work for me. Like, nah, you got to go through some shit. You got to test shit out. You got to put in the work. And so in putting in all this work, I know exactly what I don't want. I know exactly what I don't need. I know exactly what I do want and what I do need. And I want to be a happy divine feminine, creating and doing what I love to do best, which is creating however I see fit and however Spirit says and sees fit for me, because I'm a vessel of the Most High, and I can only operate according to what the Most High ordains me to do. And that's just what that is. So, next part of this question. Most of all, how do I start my journey teaching mental health, physical health, and awareness in my community? Because that's where I would like to start. Just start. I don't care how you start. Just start. Make videos. Ask former teachers of yours if you could be a guest and test out a class. You know, of course you want to have some structure, but I kind of feel like it's in the doing, I know that it's in the doing where you're going to yield the most results and you're going to get your answers. Because as humans, we can sit here and think all day long about, I need to do this first, and we get so wrapped up in our minds and in our heads that we can literally deter ourselves and talk ourselves out of doing something, right? And so as a Capricorn, I struggle with that a lot too. Thinking that everything had to be perfect, and before this I gotta do this. Now, of course, you want to be logical about your steps, and you want to do things in the best of orders, but a lot of the times you just gotta do it, and then you'll see what happens. It's kind of like that's all you can really do, honestly. Like, just have a goal at least. Like, set some goals, set some daily goals, some short-term and some long-term goals. But at the end of the day, like, the schematics of things won't come until you do it. Like, you'll go speak at a class once and you'll be like, oh, okay, I kind of, then record yourself, have somebody record you, watch yourself. Like, I'm so big on studying self, it is not even funny. I can literally, which I do about once a month, I'll just go through all of my old videos and like just all my old shit, just anything I can dig up. And then I'll probably watch these videos 100,000 times. I'll watch it 100,001 more again, because I just, not only do I love myself, but I love to study myself. Because at the end of the day, this whole game of life is self-mastery. Self-mastery. You have to know thyself, and to know yourself is to study and be with yourself. So it's going to cost a lot of sacrifices. You're going to have to trade off a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, it's all for your benefit. But that's only if you put in the work. So you got to start recording yourself. You got to start journaling. You just got to start. So whatever feels most comfortable for you, don't do that. Do the exact opposite, because where your blessings come from getting out of your comfort zone. So I would say get out of your comfort zone and get out of your head and just start that shit. See where it takes you and continue to build on that. And, as far as being in the community, I love that. I think that's perfect. Again, start with your local area, host a show. Like, I don't know. You can really spin that 1,001 ways, but I would definitely just start by starting. Just start. So I hope that answered all of your questions, my love, Alexandria. And the last question, which wasn't a question, was how can I get your attention / when can I take you out? The answer is never. I'm not interested in wasting my time with non-spiritual men or men who are not aligned with me. So sorry. And especially since I don't see you that way, it's just not going to happen. I'm currently looking for business partners. If anyone wants to align with that, I would love for my next partner to be my last partner and also my business partner. Like I'm just somewhere else, and actually like that whole world and realm is not on my radar, but I understand that it'll come when it comes, and it'll come when as I'm doing me. Like someone's gonna love me enough on my level or better. Well, you can't love me more than me, but you can, let's have a competition. But I've just been like, I'm cool on settling. I think I've settled enough from the 3 official boyfriends that I've had. Like, I'm good. It just no one has proven to be where I'm at, and I kept stooping low and trying to build people up, and I'm just kind of cool off that. So unfortunately, dear, that will not ever happen in this lifetime. I guess I'll see you next lifetime. Maybe we'll be butterflies, who knows? But anywho, this has been, a lot, but definitely let me know, like, what are your thoughts on, not me, but just these topics, and have you felt like these things? Have you experienced these things? Are you currently going through these things? But ultimately, I just want to leave you with, be your best self for you. Turn your skeletons into wonderful master skeletal pieces of art. This is your life. This is your narrative. You control it. And at the end of the day, it all stems from the mind. Is all, and all is mental. So however you're thinking, if it's not serving you anymore, switch that shit. Shift it and shift it and shift it until you get it right. And you can be one person this day and one person the next, one person 10 minutes ago and a whole nother person 10 minutes from then. But at the end of the day, keep shifting until you won't ever get it right. That's why it's called a path, right? You're going to be on this journey your whole damn life. This is a life journey. This is your life path. So don't ever feel like you're going to get it right. You'll get it right for the season you need to get it right for. And then it's going to be time to move on and evolve into the next part of yourself, which should always be greater. So don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't make any assumptions about anyone's life. Don't feel like you're owed to know anyone's life, because again, it's their life, and not everyone is as open as I am. You know what I'm saying? But truthfully, I just really want to leave you with, you are so much stronger than you give yourself credit for. You can rise out of anything. I don't care what it is. I probably have been there, and even if I haven't, you know, you might know someone who has, or, you know, just don't focus on other people. Focus on you and how you need to, what do you need to do to be your best self, and how can you get there? And if it takes reaching out, if it takes, yeah, because a lot of people like to fucking hate, and I just don't get that shit either. So stop being a hater if you're a hater, and just be like, hey bro, hey sis, like, I see you did this, and that. How can I get there too? But and don't ask from a perspective of, I need to get rich quick, or I need a cheat sheet, because ultimately you're only going to cheat yourself. But come at it from a perspective of, okay, I at least know what I don't want. How can I attain more of what I do want, or what I do need? Like, you need to really, y'all gotta start studying yourselves. Like, you can sit here and study a fucking basketball game and know someone's high school stats, but you don't know what you like to do outside of the one thing you think you're supposed to do. Like, come on, we gotta cap the bullshit at some point. And I know I go in and out of like love and light to putting foot in asses, because that's just my duality. You know, we're a little LA girl. But you just gotta cap the bullshit. Like, stop it. Just stop it. Oh, we gotta go. I didn't know there was a maximum recording time. Okay. Well, I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all next time. This has been Fuck It Fridays. Oops, F It Fridays. This has been Discussion Time Podcast, Episode 5, Season 2. Tune in tomorrow for the last segment of this week. We'll have a poll on Sunday for who y'all will want to be the guest on next Wednesday's episode for Nerd Box Wednesdays, in which we just nerd out about anything. Books, anime, certain TV shows, whatever you want to nerd out about. Even a particular topic, field, whatever. So, I said enough. I leave you in love and light. And I'm able to be this way because of everything I've been through. So take what you've been through and just turn that shit into love. Until next time, don't you ever forget to stay magical. Always. Mwah. Yay me. Ooh, damn, everything finna die. 11%. We've been an hour on the computer. All right, y'all. Well, that was that. Let me know what you thought as well. Let's dialogue. I found you in peace. I leave you in peace. I have nothing else to say. So, I love you. Stay magical always. Mwah.